And they're off. Very even start. Con on the Run is going to the front. Clampett has some early speed too, along with Street Art, who's in the firing line, and Town Boy is up in third, just a half length off the pace. Then King Apollo, Bright Leaf, and Fort Bridger trails. Con on the Run passes the half-mile pole with a three-quarter length lead on Clampett second. A length and a half, Town Boy in third. At the rails, Street Art is fourth, inching a little bit closer, has 2 lengths to make up. Then it's King Apollo, Bright Leaf, 4 back to Fort Bridger. Less than 3 furlongs remain for Con on the Run, who still leads the way by just under a length to Clampett. Town Boy packed out 3 deep in third. A ground-saving Street Art is in the thick of things, followed by King Apollo and Bright Leaf turning for home. And it's Con on the Run shaking loose. Opens up 3 lengths now. Clampett still trying to hold second, followed by Town Boy and Street Art. Con on the Run, untroubled today, is long gone. Con on the Run, reunited with Ricky Gonzalez to score by 3. Clampett second, Town Boy third. Fourth went to King Apollo in front of Bright Leaf. Funny Feline coming up. And they're off. Roubaix had an alert beginning. Funny Feline on the far outside is up close. And in between those two, Bold Choice is in the firing line too. Increased stakes, Rosy Forecast fifth, about 3 or 4 lengths off the lead. A gap of 3 to Lady Blackbird, racing on the outside of Sweet Duck. They're followed by Elegance Code, Circle of Stars, and Barrister's Ride is at the back of the field. Increased stakes takes them into the far turn with a narrow lead. Roubaix, Funny Feline is 3 wide in third. They're followed by Rosy Forecast. Bold Choice is racing in fifth, has 5 lengths to make up. Another 3 back to Lady Blackbird. From the back of the field, Barrister's Ride trying to launch a late bid. They pass the quarter pole and turn for home, and it's increased stakes, a length and a half. On the inside, Rosy Forecast is coming smartly in second. Center of the course, Bold Choice. Between horses, Roubaix, but with a 16th to go, increased stakes. Powers home. Increased stakes. Wins easily by 2.5. Rosy Forecast completes the Redham Racing Exacta. Then it was Bold Choice, Funny Feline, and a battle for fifth that did involve Barrister's Ride in Roubaix. They're in the gate. And they're off. A little bit of a tardy beginning for CEO. The rest of them line up right across the track with Pinedale up close and King Rob. They're dueling into the first turn. State of the Union on the outside and Mr. Bug Z one from the outside. Gap of 4 to Mongolian Bonus and CEO. They head toward the 6 furlong pole, and it's King Rob who now sprints clear, has it by 2 lengths. In second is State of the Union, and down at the rail, Mr. Bugsy and Pinedale. Pinedale currently holding third, climbing a bit and dropping back. 2 more back to Mongolian Bonus, who's joined at the rail by CEO. Down the backstretch they go. And it's King Rob carving out the fractions, has a pretty easy lead of 2 lengths. State of the Union is second. It's a gap of 3 to the next flight. Mongolian Bonus is losing ground, 1 from the rail, dropping right out of its CEO after some brief interest. Mr. Bug Z is widest of all, and Pinedale between those two. In the second flight, chasing King Rob, who's been there throughout. State of the Union closing in slowly within a half length at the quarter pole. King Rob, State of the Union. They're 4 lengths in front at the top of the stretch. Mongolian Bonus reclaims third, followed by Pinedale. There's 3/16 of a mile to go. State of the Union takes command and puts them all away. Opening up 3. King Rob trying to hold second, and then Mongolian Bonus in a strung out field. It will be a formful result as the chalk takes care of business. State of the Union waltzing home. Mongolian Bonus got up for second in front of King Rob and Pinedale. New heat. And they're off. Cordiality breaks out smoothly. Gold for Kitten, Miraz along the inside, and Rocking Redhead is close up as well. They're followed by Keyflower, who's in the 5th spot, about 4 lengths off the lead. Sassy Serb is next, racing on the outside of Hogan's Holiday. Zayarad is second to last, and then it's a gap of 4 to New Heat. Around the first turn they go, and it's Cordiality dictating terms. Leads at about a half length to an eager Rocking Redhead in second. At the rail, Gold for Kitten third, and Keyflower is fourth in the pink. Has about 2.5 or so to make up. Miraz is next, Hogan's Holiday. Sassy Serb outside of that pair. Zayarad is second to last, and still New Heat at the back of the field. They have a half mile left to run. Cordiality is the boss. Has it a length and a half now. Rocking Redhead in second. Gold for Kitten still third, then Keyflower. Miraz is 4 lengths off the lead. Sassy Serb is next. Zayarad moves up a bit inside of Hogan's Holiday and 3/4 to New Heat. It's Cordiality coming to the quarter pole. A 3-wide bid coming from Keyflower now to challenge as the field turns for home. Rocking Redhead is in between them. They're followed by Gold for Kitten, who's trying to get out, and Miraz has a clear shot on the outside. A 16th of a mile to go. Keyflower emerges with the lead. Miraz chasing gamely on the outside of Rocking Redhead. It will be Keyflower. A nice win, 3/4 of a length. Miraz was second. 4-way battle for the rest among Gold for Kitten. Rocking Redhead was in that mix with Hogan's Holiday and New Heat. Up next, the 8th. Start of the Golden Hour, pick 4 in 27 minutes. Midnight Special to the outside. And they're off. Midnight Special. Pyeongchang has some early speed, and down at the rail, it's Atomic Drop now rushing up, and Atomic Drop takes command as they get with the main track. Midnight Special is now second. They're followed by Pyeongchang. Reckoning Day is in between rivals. The 2 trailers, Scary Fast Smile and Squala Toro at the back of the field. It's an easy lead for Atomic Drop to the half-mile pole. Has it by 3 lengths. Reckoning Day in between horses. Midnight Special on the outside. Pyeongchang one from the rail. Scary Fast Smile trying to slip through a narrow opening, but is having to steady at this point. Could not get through. A length and a half behind him comes Squala Toro. In the meantime, Atomic Drop has opened up 5, 6 lengths. Scary Fast Smile gets that seam now, and he starts to cut into the margin. These two are well clear. Atomic Drop, Scary Fast Smile, though, takes dead aim at him at the 8th pole, and Scary Fast Smile is up to take the lead. Atomic Drop fights on. They are a block clear of the rest. Squala Toro coming through on the inside of Midnight Special. Scary Fast Smile proves too much and wins it going away. Another for Flavien Prat. Atomic Drop second, tight photo for third between Midnight Special and Squala Toro. Todd Nixon. In the ninth, the Pasadena Stakes will kick off. They're in the gate. And they're off. Very awkward beginning for Do It for Andrew at the back of the field. It's a quick start for Sumter. Barsapis is up and on the pace too. In the center of the course, Handy Dandy a joint third. Echo Smith taken in hand fourth. Then comes Epoch. Fast Draw Munnings is racing in between horses. Followed by Crosby Beach. Don't Swear Dave. Do It for Andrew is next. Followed on the inside by Red Road. And then it's a gap of 5 to Optigogo with no early speed. Onto the backstretch they go. It's Sumter showing the way. Has it a half length. Barsabas keeps him on a second. Then Echo Smith and Handy Dandy right together, third and fourth. They are joined by Epoch, who is 3 wide past the half-mile pole, and Epoch is going right after the leaders. Do It for Andrew has also made serious mid-race progress. He's now a joint fourth. In the meantime, it's Echo Smith and Handy Dandy still side by side as they head into the far turn. Fast Draw Munnings, Crosby Beach, followed by Don't Swear Dave, who's 10 lengths off the pace. Red Road, Optigogo is far back. Quarter of a mile to go. Sumter has been there every step of the way. Epoch makes a move on the outside. In between them, Barsabas is fighting on gamely. There's an eighth of a mile to go. And Sumter now shakes free of those two. Opens up 3 lengths. Handy Dandy is starting to finish strongly into second. A 16th to go. And Sumter has a 2.5 lead over Handy Dandy. And Sumter gets there in front running fashion. Yet another for Flavian Pratt. Handy Dandy was a very good second. Then it was a photo for third between Crosby Beach and Don't Swear Dave.
It's kind of a big day at the Great Race Place today, right? Obviously, you probably know there's a mandatory pad on the 20-cent Rainbow Pick Six. Right now, that jackpot single ticket carryover is in excess of $650,000. But today, everything must go. 20-cent regular Pick Six. Expectations are the pool size will be close to $5 million once they break from the starting gate. But it's also a big day because of our seminar guest today. If you've seen him on these seminars before, you know he's a real Sharpie. He's an esteemed bloodstock agent. He's also a private clocker. His name, Gary Young. Gary, welcome to the seminar.
It's good to be here.
It's good to.
It felt like they were playing the Welcome Back Kotter theme song as I was coming here. It's been so long since I've been on the show.
It's great to see you, and it's great to have you back, Gary. And of course, your day started really early this morning, probably before the sun rose. Of course, you were out there watching the horses work. First question for you is, who did you see work and who you were most impressed with this morning?
Horse that I have a vested interest in named Taba was very, very good this morning for Mr. Baffert.
You shelled out a few dollars for him.
We could have bought 48 Medina Spirits for what this horse cost.
Same ownership group?
Yeah.
Okay. And what was his distance? How'd he go?
Went 5/8. They had him 59. He was broke out of the gate. He's very good out of the gate, and he worked with a horse that's won already and ran in a stake here recently named McLaren Vale. They both went around there in 59 flat. They both work very good, but for an unraced maiden to hold his own and with a horse that's already won, it gives you a reason to be excited.
When will we see him make the races? What's your expectation in terms of a start date?
I just pick him out of the auctions. Mr. Baffert is the one that picks the races, but he's barring anything unforeseen, he should run soon. Yes.
Good. Anybody else catch your eye this morning that you maybe saw work out from either a Bob's barn or another barn?
Who was the other?
Ain't Easy.
Ain't Easy. I cashed on her when she was prepping for the Breeders' Cup. She worked in company with Aunt Marble or something, or something like that for Phil, and they both went very good.
This was a main track drill?
Yes, main track drill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Phil does a lot of work on the training track, but this was a main track drill, and she went really good. I mean, I cashed on her when she won last year, and I thought she was going to represent California all right in the Breeders' Cup, and then she had a little boo-boo, but she's back now, and she appears to not have lost a step at all.
Now, it's mid-February, and of course, we're getting closer and closer to both the Santa Anita Derby and the Kentucky Derby, but we had a very impressive performance yesterday at the fairgrounds in the Risen Star, a horse trained by Steve Asmussen named Epicenter, ridden by Joel Rosario, of course, Ron Anderson, his agent. That team paired up for a very impressive victory. Did you see the race, and what did you think?
The race was over at the 5/8 pole. I told Buckethead, I said, this is just over, I mean, it was he was relaxed.
Coming down the lane, I mean, Joel could have stopped for a hot dog, right?
Yes, and he thought about it too, it looked like. I mean, if he looked back one more time, they'd have arrested him for loitering. I mean, he just wanted to obviously save as much as he could for the next race. And, it's just a microcosm of what can happen in this game. My friend Steve Asmussen had a filly get injured in the Rachel Alexandra, and then bounces back and wins this race. I mean, but no, that race was really impressive. And McPeak's horse that ran second, that came up the rail, he got a lot of schooling, and you would think in the races down the road that the setup would be a little different, and that I would be very surprised if Epicenter gets to walk the dog in 47-3 in his next race, and no one goes and runs with him.
What about the fairgrounds racing surface, Gary, as it relates to translating over to Churchill Downs? It sure seems like historically either horses from Santa Anita or Oaklawn Park tend to do better over the Churchill Downs main track rather than the runners coming from the fairgrounds. Just speaking historically, of course, every horse is different, but do you think there's something to that, malarkey?
There could be, but California's been so strong in the Derby over the years, and Oaklawn has, the Oaklawn's kind of became it is a really major place, and I think the Arkansas Derby is kind of grown in stature, and A week at Oaklawn, I guess. I've never been there, but I guess it's supposed to be just like unbelievable.
They just built a new hotel right there on the clubhouse turn,
Yes.
believe it or not. So
Yes.
we need to make a road trip down there because I've never been there as well. And there's not many tracks where I can say that.
I have 3 on my bucket list that
What
I
are
need
they?
to get to, and I've never been to Oaklawn, I've never been to Fairgrounds, and I've never been to Monmouth.
Well, Monmouth is beautiful. I can tell you that. Fairgrounds is also very nice. It's hard to go wrong in New Orleans, Louisiana.
I heard it's the best eating town in the world, which could be very bad for my waistline. But I mean, I've heard the restaurants, they're like, you know, they're equal to any city around.
We're both from Chicago, so that's going to be hard to beat, right? I mean, you talk about
Dean and Giorgetti's, Eli's, all
countless
those places. I mean, I wonder if those places are still there.
Now, I know a racetrack that wasn't on your bucket list is unfortunately Arlington Park. And of course, it looks like we've met the demise of Arlington Park, potentially with the purchase of the Chicago Bears, maybe building a new stadium out there. You're from Chicago. That's kind of where you cut your teeth. What are maybe 30 seconds worth of memories you have about Arlington Park?
Oh, I became hooked on this game because of my parents. And I mean, I didn't barely remember it, but I remember my dad took me there to see like Dr. Fager when he broke the world record, buck passer in Damascus. And then, 5 or 6 years later, when I was a little older and realized what was going on, Secretariat came there and ran. I was there a couple of years previous to that, with this year when 4-Star Crook ran in the Beverly D and ran second to Sister Charlie, and I was there to watch her run. And I mean, you kind of, when I was around there, I took a walk around the grandstand and stuff, and it obviously was a different grandstand than the one I grew up in, but it was still the same area, the same train stop outside where the guys from Chicago take the train down and come in. And you kind of, when I was there, it was very bittersweet. It was nice to go back to the track that I grew up going to, but you kind of had the feeling that this is going to be the last time you were there. And, I mean, let's face it, Calder, Arlington Park, and Hollywood Park, they're very something common with all 3 of them.
We're going to stop reminiscing because we've got some work to do. That's specifically to find out who Gary likes in today's Rainbow Pick 6 sequence with a mandatory payout to carry over $660,000 plus. But before we do any of that, we're going to toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati, get the early program changes, including a significant jockey change in our feature race. We'll be right back.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the great race place. Here are the changes. The first race starts the 50-cent early pick 5. We have a blinker note in race 1. The track is fast. The turf is firm. Rail on the turf is out 10 feet today. In the second, scratch number 1, Come On, Come On. No show wagering in race 2, which starts the early pick 4. In the third race this afternoon, we have no changes. Race 4 is the start of the Rainbow Pick 6. $664,000 carries over. And the good news, we have a mandatory payout today. That pool is estimated to reach $5 million. Of course, you will see updates of the pool as it grows. Blinker note on the 9 in race 4. Fifth race, late pick 5, number 2, Big Passion, 1 over. 6 Island Life, 2 pounds over. Turning to race 6, no changes. Late pick 4 starts with the 6th. In the 7th, take out number 2, OMG, It's Jessica. Scratch 2, OMG, It's Jessica. 8th, the grade 3 San Simeon Stakes, number 3, Barraza. Make the jockey Daisuke Fukumoto. Daisuke Fukumoto rides 3 Barraza in the 8th and featured event, the grade 3 San Simeon. And in the 9th race, scratch number 5, Snark. The Golden Hour pick 4 starts with the 8th. Golden Hour double starts with the 9th. Big news of the day, of course, is our mandatory payout in the Rainbow 6, $664,000 to start the pool. It must get paid out today. Special holiday racing here at the Great Race Place tomorrow. Post time for our opener 57 minutes away at 12:30 p.m. At this time, we go back to Quigley's Corner. Tom's special guest today, private clocker and bloodstock agent Gary Young.
Welcome back. It's our pleasure to have private clocker Gary Young as our special seminar guest today. Of course, today, mandatory payout in the 20-cent pick six, $664,000 in the pool. The pool is going to be massive. It's going to be the focus of horse players from all around the country, much less all around the world as well, thanks to the ability to wager online throughout the entire world. So, Gary, let's first take a look at race number one. We'll go through all 9 races, and race 1 begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. We kick things off on the turf course. The rails today are at 10 feet, and this is for Calbred, fillies and mares, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. Field of 5, morning line favorite in the current betting choice, number 1, Big Claire from the Phil D'Amato barn. A little bit camera shy she is. Is today the day where she visits the winner's circle again?
One win in 5 seconds. That's I'm sure that can get a little aggravating for Phil. Her work the other day with Ain't Easy, who was the winner of the Breeders' Cup Prep and for 2-year-old fillies last year, and then had a little problem. She's coming back very well. Her work with Ain't Easy was very good. Her work previous to that with Flavian Up was very good. There's 2 things that concern me in the race. Her camera shyness and the fact that it looks like her main opponent is going to be walking the dog in front. There's
kind of like Epicenter yesterday.
It's a little bit different talent level maybe, but this filly, but on paper, Epicenter wasn't supposed to get that easy lead. On paper, unless someone alters their style drastically, he is going to get an easy lead. And I'm sure Flavian knows and remembers that the one time he did try to lay close with Big Claire at Del Mar was her worst race. So it'd be an interesting race from a tactics standpoint. I do think one of those 2 horses will win the race.
1-4-4-1 to kick things off in race number 1. Let's turn the page and take a look at race number 2. Begins the 50-cent early pick 4. This race is on the main track, 6 furlongs of the distance. Maiden claiming Calbred, 3-year-olds in for a $50,000 tag. Just a field of 4 after the scratch of the rail horse. Number 1, Come On, will not compete. Number 3, Big Impact from the Brian Coroner barn is the 8-5 morning line favorite, taking a drop down in class to the maiden claiming level. Gary, give us your thoughts on race 2.
We're down to a 4-pack now. I thought Fonzie would probably win the race. It's a battle of the cowboys, Brian Coroner versus Ryan Hansen. It's kind of, that's what we're dealing with here.
One's an Idaho cowboy, one's a California cowboy, right?
That's probably true. Yeah,
I think so. If you go back through the lineage, I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with being a California cowboy.
Oh no, well, Fonz could pitch a baseball. He could do a lot of things.
Yeah.
I thought one of these 2 would win the race. I didn't. A Big Splash. The drop in class is what it is, but I didn't see a whole lot in his comeback works for this race. I didn't like the Antonio Garcia on the bottom, so that leaves the battle between 2 and 3 in there. Didn't really have a preference in the race.
Fair enough. Let's see if we can find a little bit better price in race number 3. This time we're sprinting 7 furlongs on the main track for $20,000 claimers. Number 3, Heart Full of Stars, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Tyler Bass has had a good couple of weeks in the saddle. You expect him to get another victory here?
I give him a shot. kind of a fuzzy pace picture in this race. Buttered Noodles at one time had speed. Recently, he's been showing speed routing, and now he turns back. It's kind of trying to picture how the race is going to be contested is a little bit cloudy or murky. I looked at the 5-horse Bear Chum, Edwin Maldonado, as along with Tyler, has been winning quite a few races lately, both proving that if they get the right stock, they can get the job done. And of course, charge cash down on the bottom. Not a bad motto to go through life with sometime, charge cash, if you're opening a business. For 20,000, he usually hits pretty hard. So I was going to look at those two. I didn't really have a strong opinion in the race. And, now we roll into the 6 races that count today, obviously. But that was kind of what I was looking at in there. I was a little bit lost in there.
Always like to see a 9-year-old who's still out on the racetrack. We're going to see a couple of examples of that today. Gary's top pick, number 5, Bear Chum, is a 9-year-old gelding, 37 lifetime starts, 11 victories. He certainly knows where the winner's circle is, albeit most of those wins are on a synthetic surface. Let's take a look at the fireworks that begin in race number 4. That's because it begins the 20-cent pick 6 with a mandatory payout today. Expectations are the pool will be close to $5 million. And we kick it off sprinting 6.5 furlongs on the flat turf course for maiden special weight Calabreds. A field of 10, the morning line favorite, number 2, Thrive, coming back from the layoff for trainer Michael McCarthy. Before we get your picks on the race, Gary, I wanted to take a look at a workout for one of the comebackers, specifically down on the rail, Chipper, trained by Mark Ladd, who does so well off layoffs. We want to take a look at the training track workout back on February 12th for Chipper. Here's the solo workout, Gary. Do you remember this work? Because it's on the training track, but I actually thought it was a pretty impressive workout for this level.
It's you get to watch it on XBTV, which I would say to advise the fans to take advantage of that. They don't catch all the workouts, but they catch quite a few of them. This horse worked well. He's kind of a horse that's always been a decent workhorse. You would have thought by now that he would have broken his maiden, but he hasn't. But no, you were correct. This was definitely better than average work here, both time-wise and how he did it. It was okay.
Typically when they're coming out of the chute, so to speak, on the 6.5 furlong turf course, it's a little bit subtle when you watch the pan shot, but actually they kind of got to make a quick left out of the starting gate. Now down inside, which is where Chipper is drawn, actually, in my opinion, is advantageous because you're going to have basically not all that outside hoopla to overcome.
I couldn't agree with you more. On the races, the further up the chute they start, the more I try to avoid the inside post.
Outside post.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we watched Chipper work out here, and of course Gallup out coming back off the February 2021 layoff. You're going to go in a different direction though with your picks. Tell us who it is and why.
I like the area code a little bit. 4-year-old first-time starters generally are an iffy proposition, but his work on January 31st was with Bright Leaf, who's a decent horse. He didn't run well. He didn't run that good yesterday, but in his race before that, he was going to win till he threw the rider. When John goes and gets Flavian, it's usually a pretty good sign. I came down to 5 and 10. Really big news. He has, he's been banging on the door and not getting in, but the post should be okay for him, and he should be laying right outside the speed, which would probably come from the 7 and the 9 I had as the speed in this race. Depending on what Whitey wants to do with Thrive, he could show speed, but I thought the 7 and the 9 would definitely be in the front markers, as Trevor would say.
The Dime Store horse is 5 and 10 to kick off the 20-cent pick 6 in race number 4. Let's see who Gary likes in race number 5. Of course, race 5 begins the 50-cent late pick 5. In this race, we're sprinting 5.5 furlongs on the main track. For fillies and mares, $10,000 is the claiming tag. Number 7, Rain Diva, also from the Mark Glatt barn, is the 5-2 morning line choice. And here, Gary, give us your thoughts on race 5.
I kind of came down to 1 and 7 here. Time for Abbey has been he's been a warrior around here for many years. Another 9-year-old. That seems to be the theme of the day.
And a lot of layoff horses in the pick 6 as well, which makes it a bit challenging.
This is coming off the layoff from my friend Gary Studi, who's known to his friends as Kermit the Frog. Kermit Herms brought this one off the layoff. The work on February 11th was okay, and this horse is a warrior. He knows where the wire is, and he generally lays right off the speed and attacks. We got some horses coming over from Los Al in this race, so you'd assume that they would be speedy type horses. In fact, all three of them next to him are Los Al based horses. Rain Diva again, Mark Glatt in here. She's a speedy horse too. The pace is going to be very hot in this race. Rain Diva at least doesn't have any speed outside of her, so she might be able to get a little bit more of the speed brigade. She might get a little bit easier trip because she's not getting breathed on the outside.
And Rain Diva, one thing we know, Gary, she's had 12 lifetime starts, but 3 of those victories, all 3 career victories, came right here over the main track at Santa Anita. So certainly we know she likes this main track. Whether she can stick around close to the finish line based on the drop in class will be yet to be determined, but nevertheless certainly looks like a logical contender in race number 5.
Cool.
Let's take a look at race number 6, 1 mile on the turf course. Also race 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 4. Maiden claimers in for a $62,500 claiming tag, a field of 7. Take note, number 5, Got Curly is a first-time gelding. The morning line favorite, number 2, Hollywood Hellraiser, 5-2 from the Phil D'Amato barn. Before we get your selection of the race, Gary, we want to watch the replay back on January 14th, the 4th race. Why that race? Because 4 of the 7 runners in this particular race exit that common race. So we'll let Frank Miramati describe the action, and you'll be able to follow along with some of the runners in race 6 today.
They're in the gate. And they're off. Fast start for Street Ruckus. El Joy is up close in the early stages, and Rosenquist on the far outside, along with Hulk, who comes through on the inside and makes the lead pretty easily. Just behind them, Nothing Good Comes Easy is now a joint second. El Joy backs off, as Street Ruckus and Rosenquist are still second and third. Batu Khan didn't have the best of beginnings, is 5 lengths off the lead. Prince Ziggy is second to last, and World Cruiser trails. Hulk shows the way under Johnny V by a length and a half to Street Ruckus in second. At the rail, Nothing Good Comes Easy is a joint third. Inside, Rosenquist and El Joy between those two. They're followed by Batu Khan. Prince Ziggy is 5 off the lead, 2 in front of World Cruiser. On to the backstretch they go. Chasing Hulk in front by a length. Street Ruckus is in second. Then Rosenquist third, followed by Nothing Good Comes Easy. Hasn't been much change. El Joy between rivals, 4 off the lead with a half mile to go. At the rail, Batu Khan, Prince Ziggy right next to him, and World Cruiser between those two. It's a compact group behind Hulk, who's in front of half a length. Now Street Ruckus and Rosenquist turning up the pressure, second and third. At the rail, Nothing Good Comes Easy is losing ground, passed by El Joy. World Cruiser out of last, trying to mount a bit on the outside of Batu Khan and Prince Ziggy. They're at the top of the stretch, and Rosenquist on the outside, Hulk at the rail, and in between them, Street Ruckus. El Joy is further out, center of the course, World Cruiser, final 16th coming up. Street Ruckus, Rosenquist a length and a half back second, and Street Ruckus starts to pull away. Street Ruckus finishes full of run. Scores by 2.5. Rosenquist was second. World Cruiser finished very nicely third. Then a photo between Hulk and El Joy.
The winner of that race, Gary, was Street Ruckus, trained by the red-hot Vladimir Sarin barn. There were 4 runners here in today's 6th race that are coming out of that race, 4 of the 7 runners, I should say. But you actually like one of those 4 runners as your top selection in the race.
You know, Batu Khan stumbled pretty good leaving the gate. It was his first start in 8 months, and he probably needed the race anyway, and the stumble probably finished whatever chance he had. Plus, let's face it, this was not a very contested pace for a closer such as this. The race shape did not come up that big, did not come up that good for him. That being said, that doesn't look like they're going to be flying in this race either. Hulk got an easy lead that day and had no excuse. He might get an easy lead today, but it's tough to watch that replay and have a whole lot of confidence in the Hulk.
And your top pick, Gary, more importantly, switches over to first-time Flavian. That's always a dangerous handicapping angle in Southern California. I remember when
our buddy Gary Stevens came down here in about in 84, 85, and people were looking and like, who is this guy coming from Idaho? And why is he coming to Southern California? And then all of a sudden, people realized this guy was a freak in more ways than one. But I mean, he all of a sudden, first time Stevens became a huge handicapping angle, and there was 8 Hall of Famers in the Jacks room. But yeah, Flavien, I mean, I'm sure the longtime fans here remember when he was under contract to the Wertheimers, and he was spending most of his time in Europe. And of course, in the winter they cease racing over there, and they don't race year round, which is a novel idea. And he would come over here for the winter, and you could tell he could ride, and Mandela would put him on the odd horse, and he'd work in the morning, but he certainly learned his lessons well from whoever he learned them well for, and he can ride with anybody, anywhere in the world. That's my opinion of him.
We're both old enough to remember when Frankie Dettori used to come over here for the winter as well. You remember that?
Started out galloping horses for Speckers, so he could tell some stories. Frankie was, Frankie come over here for the winter. Yeah, it was. A lot of people used to come here for the winter.
When you watch the seminar with Gary Young, you learn a lot more than just the horses entered on today's card. Race number 7 begins the late pick 3, and it also has a race 7 furlongs on the main track for Calbred. Allowance optional claiming types 1 scratch the 2 OMG. It's Jessica, leaves us with a field of 9, and the favorite is on the outside. Number 10, Smitten by Kitten. 5-2 in a 9-horse field here, indicating that the morning line odds maker likes Smitten by Kitten. Do you also like Smitten by Kitten, Gary?
I do. I mean, I thought between the 1, 4, and 6 that there'd be a healthy pace in the race. I thought Flavien would probably sit out there. Unfortunately, you take a beating on the price when you fall on Flavien's horses. But I thought the horse would get a decent trip. The horse has one on the lead, but I would think that Mark and Flavien would read the form and probably come to the same conclusion I do, that it could be a pretty hot pace in this race. Interesting thing about Smitten by Kitten. She's by Kitten's joy out of a Dynaformer mare, but her 2 turf races are horrible and her 2 dirt races are good. That's just when you think you got this game all figured out, they'll show you something like that that's kind of unexplainable.
Well, breeding is unexplainable. Just look at you and your brother. You guys couldn't be more opposite, right? I mean, you guys are on different ends of the coast, and yet you look at the world differently.
It's the most unpredictable part of the game. I mean, some of the greatest race mares in our time have been bad producers.
A lot of them.
Some of the better studs have been huge disappointments at stud. I mean, it's then I mean, look, I signed a Mischief Train every day of his life. He was a good horse, very good looking horse. If you would have told me when he went to stud that he would be someday so far and away the most desired stallion in America, I would have kind of looked at you like, But that just that in addition to many other things just shows why breeding is the most imperfect science part of the game. It is.
Stud fee for Into Mischief currently $250,000. Race number 8 is our feature race on the card, the Grade 3 San Simeon, and we are coming down the hillside turf course.
Thank God.
And exactly, and of course, race number 8 begins the $1 golden hour pick 4. We've got a good field of 8 here. Take note of an important jockey change. Number 3, Barraza, will now be ridden by Daisuke Fukumoto, and Barraza is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Before we get your selection in the race, Gary, I wanted to show a workout for another 9-year-old on today's card. Number 7, Bombard, coming back off a layoff for trainer Richard Mandela. This was a team drill on February 16th with Bordertown, who, of course, we know runs here in Southern California as well. What do you think of this team drill, Gary?
Both horses that are, even though they're turf horses, they are both very willing workhorses. Bombard, he's a very flashy looking horse. I remember when Alex Solis was getting on horses for after he had quit riding and before he moved back to Kentucky, when Hall of Fame jockey Alex Solis was getting on horses for Mandela, he said Bombard was his favorite ride in the barn, and he's a nice horse. And this work, you see, just both riders couldn't be more motionless on their horses. Bombard kind of edges clear a little bit late here, but you could not knock the work on either of them. Bombard looked good. He did look good.
We saw trainer Richard Mandela bring a comebacker yesterday in last night's nightcap in our feature race, the Pasadena Stakes. Certainly Bombard is one of many contenders in today's San Simeon. Who do you like in the race and why?
I came down to, after giving the fans nothing but chalk all day, I tried to want to throw him something here with Bran. If you look up Bran's works on XBTV, which I would encourage you to do so, the horse, his workouts for this race have been really, really flashy. My gym buddy Joe Bravo's on the horse. We both are at the Equinox over there in Pasadena quite often. He gets better results than I do. But this horse worked good. John Sadler sits with me in the morning. Him, Baffert, and I are the main principals of what we call the Breakfast Club. And John was very bullish on this horse's chances on moving up off of the layoff. Between Bombard, Barraza, and Beer Can Man, it's not going to be an easy task, but you're going to get a good value on the horse, and it's a good race. I mean, you got Beer Can Man, who arguably has been, one of the better turf sprinters around here the last year.
He dances every dance, doesn't he? It doesn't matter the racetrack either. You don't need to take the racetrack with him.
He does. And Barraza, I mean, brilliant, a terrific claim. Vladimir claimed him, and he wanted to put him on the grass all along. But after a while, he said, let's try something different. And ever since he's went to sprinting on the turf, the horse has been unbeatable. So very good race. By the way, the reason why John Velasquez isn't riding Barraza is because his mother-in-law, who is a wonderful lady, lost her battle with cancer, and Johnny is not here today. But I just want to extend my well wishes to Johnny and the racing community sympathies.
And Mrs. O'Brien, right?
Leona is a wonderful lady. Yes.
Very, very difficult news to hear. That's for sure. Race number 9 closes out the day, but it doesn't close out the week. That's because we have special holiday Monday racing tomorrow, President's Day. 8-race card starts at 12:30 p.m. But first things first, race number 9 begins the $5 Golden Hour Daily Double. We're back on the turf course once again, this time 6 furlongs on the flat turf surface. Main special weight 3-year-olds, field of 8 after the scratch of 5. The morning line favorite is number 2, Countess Rosine, a first-time starter, but an invader from overseas. We want to take a look first before we get Gary's selections at a workout back on February 4th. This was an interesting 3-horse drill, and the way you'll be able to identify Countess Rosina is not only is she in front, but she's also the only workmate here wearing the black cap. The exercise rider is wearing the black cap. Unusual, at least from my opinion, Gary, to see 3 horses work. Countess Rosina kind of dominated this work.
She did. You get because the train track, a lot of turf horses work out there, and the Phil and Richie Baltus and those people, the turf racing is a little bit more in tight, so that they have more team drills out there. But she was good in this drill. She was. The Red Baron Farm and Jeff are big proponents of. Obviously turf racing is a lot more prevalent now than it used to be, and they go to Europe and they buy a lot of horses, and this one is first time off the boat. Looked very good there, not ass at all. And Jeff, very good horse trainer, good friend of mine, Jeff Mullins, and see the gallop out on the horse when Jeff goes and gets Flavian, their percentage is pretty good.
So we watched the work. Is that your horse in the nightcap to close it out?
I was kind of going to go there. My friend Andy Harrington that goes down to San Luis Ray Downs a couple times a week. He was down there when the bottom horse, Glenall, worked his last work or worked her last work. And he did like that work quite a bit. So, maybe if you're looking for a little value in the last race, you might look that way. But, I came down to those 2 in this race. I did.
2 and 9 to close it out on what should be a very fun and hopefully profitable day here at the Great Race Place because of the mandatory payout on the 20-cent pick 6 that starts in race 4. Gary, it's always a pleasure having you on the seminar. Not only do you have a wealth of knowledge, but you also bring a lot of laughs to the set as well. So good luck today, and we'll do it again before the end of the meet.
Good luck to all the fans, and just remember, Just because it's 4th and 5 doesn't mean you got to throw a 6-yard pass. Try to hit an only today.
Always try and hit the only, that's for sure. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Hope you have a fun day yourself here at the Gray Racetrack. Try and make some money, okay? Next Voice You Hear will be track announcer Frank Miramati updating us with any late program changes. We'll see you tomorrow.